Welcome to Reflect with Ed Fassio. Get ready to experience one of the world's first 100% digitally generated podcasts, where we take a step back, dive deep, and strive to learn new things. Join us as we unpack thought-provoking ideas, personal reflections, and inspiring stories to help you stay in the know. Reflect is brought to you by the minds at ByteBrain and powered by emerging technologies from Google, HeyGen, OpenAI, and 11 Labs. Thanks for tuning in. Now, relax and prepare to reflect.
Welcome to Reflect, one of the world's first 100% AI-generated podcasts. We are doing a deep dive today, and I mean, we are going straight to the bedrock on a shift that is so fundamental that most people are just completely missing it.
Because it's not happening with a bang.
No, not at all. It's happening with a blinking cursor. We're looking at a piece today called Recompiling the Catalog, Media in the Age of Intent. It's by a guy named Ed Fassio.
And he's sort of the perfect person to talk about this.
He really is. He sits right on that fault line. He's an AI evangelist, so he gets the tech side, but he's also an artist. He feels the impact.
He's got skin in the game on both sides. And I think that duality is what makes his analysis so sharp. He starts with this incredible hook.
Oh, so good.
He says the future of media, it wasn't felt in a movie theater or in some fancy studio. It was felt in that tiny quiet moment where you stopped searching for a song title and started describing a feeling.
It's that shift, the shift from asking, what do you want to play, to asking, what do you want to experience?
Which sounds so subtle.
It sounds like a UI update, right? But Fassio's point is that revolutions, they usually arrive looking like simple interface changes. They kind of rewire our expectations before we even realize the whole game has been rewritten.
It's a complete re-architecture of the entire media landscape.
Yeah.
And to really get where we're going, we have to talk about where we've been. For decades.
The old world.
The old world, which Fassio calls the cathedral of the catalog.
I love this metaphor. It's perfect. The cathedral of the catalog, it sounds so grand, but really he's just describing the blockbuster era. Or, even Spotify up until about yesterday.
Exactly. It's the idea that media was a place you entered. I mean, think about it physically. You walked into a video store.
Right down the aisle.
Or digitally, you log into Netflix. You are entering a space where the inventory is already fixed. The menu is set.
You were a browser. You were looking at things that were already made.
You were a browser in a library of finished artifacts. And because that menu was fixed, and because it was the same for basically everyone, it created this byproduct that we just completely took for granted.
Shared culture.
Shared culture.
We all watched the same finale of a show. We all knew the same top 40 songs.
Yeah.
We were all quoting the same lines from The Office.
But here's the crucial point that Fassio makes. The catalog shaped our culture by limiting our choices.
Right.
Because millions of us had to pick from the same finite set of options. We got shared experiences, shared arguments even. Our disagreements were communal because the menu was communal.
We were all worshiping in the same cathedral because it was the only church in town. But now you pull up a generative AI model, one of these intent engines, and the interface it's almost deceptive. It's boring. It's just a search bar.
It is absolutely not a search bar. It's commission form.
And that is the posture shift he talks about. This is the part that honestly kind of blew my mind. He says, we're being trained right now in a new posture. We're not selecting anymore.
We're requesting outcomes?
Yes. Listen to the examples he gives because they're so specific. In the old world, the cathedral world, you'd ask for, say, track 7 by a band. You're asking for a file.
And in the new world?
In the new world, you type, I want a song that sounds like Regret at Midnight, but with enough brightness to keep driving.
Wow. That's a very specific emotional coordinate.
Isn't it? Or here's another one. I want a scene that feels like the first 10 minutes of a thriller, but set in a grocery store parking lot in 1997.
Or a chorus that punches like old soul but winks like modern pop.
Exactly. You see the difference? You're not choosing The Godfather. You're not choosing thriller. You're commissioning a vibe. You are commissioning an experience that aligns perfectly with your intent.
And all the friction just disappears. But that's also the exact moment where the relationship with art fundamentally changes.
Yeah.
Well, when you stop choosing and start commissioning, you're not really the audience anymore.
You're the creative director.
You are. And the system isn't a library anymore. It's a generator.
Which brings us to the part of the article where Fassio really drops the hammer. He says, and I'm quoting here, This is where the future gets morally interesting, commercially chaotic, and psychologically revealing.
Yeah.
Because, okay, let's be real. If I can just conjure up regret at midnight with a text prompt, what happens to the guy who actually wrote a song about regret at midnight?
This is the central tension of the whole thing. What happens to the human artist? Now, Fassio points out there are two, typical answers here. The cynic says artists become irrelevant.
And the utopian says they become free.
And reality is never that clean. It doesn't eliminate the human impulse to create. It just reorganizes it. We're seeing a new economy form, and it's not about selling a song. It's about licensing an identity.
Okay, this is blind spot number 1 in the article. The difference between the legacy economy and the working artist. And this distinction is so important because I think we tend to just lump all creators into one big bucket.
Right. We assume Taylor Swift and, I don't know, a freelance illustrator are in the same boat.
But they're not at all.
And Fassio argues that's a dangerous mistake. See, the legacy economy, the global superstars, the household names, they have what he calls durable leverage.
Durable leverage.
They can turn their voice, their face, their entire brand into a durable asset. Think of a celebrity licensing a synthetic version of their voice. They have legal teams. They can negotiate. They can say no.
If you're Tom Cruise, you're fine. You have a moat around you. But what about the mid-level illustrator, the indie musician who pays their rent doing commission work?
That's the working artist. Their entire income isn't built on brand perpetuity. It's built on scarcity.
Scarcity.
It's built on the fact that if you wanted a specific sound or a specific drawing style, you had to hire them. There was just no other way to get it.
And suddenly the intent engine comes along and just destroys that scarcity.
It obliterates it. It floods the market with infinite, high-quality alternatives that cost next to nothing. So the very thing you sold to make a living is now available for free, on demand, customized to whatever the user wants.
There's this quote in the article that really stuck with me. It's a little biting, actually. Fassio writes about the tech people who just tell artists to adapt.
Oh, I know the one.
He says it can sound like a person in a warm room explaining winter to someone outside.
It's a devastating analogy. And it's so accurate. It just highlights this total disconnect between the people building the tools and the people whose livelihoods are, on the line.
Which brings us to the second blind spot. This one is even more contentious. This is the one that makes people really angry.
The training.
The training data. This is the source of what Fassio calls the moral nausea for creators. And I get it. I mean, these generators didn't just become brilliant overnight. They got smart by studying.
They studied the cathedral. The generator became strong because it harvested the catalog. In so many cases, it learned from human work without permission, without compensation, and without attribution.
Right.
To teach a model what regret sounds like, it had to ingest thousands of songs by humans who are actually feeling regret.
So when we use a term like recompiling the catalog, it sounds so technical, so neutral. But if you're the artist whose entire life's work was fed into that machine,
it doesn't feel like recompiling. It feels like theft.
Exactly.
And Fassio doesn't shy away from that word. He says if the compiler was built by extracting value from artists who never opted in, the whole upgrade story starts to sound a lot like a theft story. This isn't just a footnote. It's the core dispute of this entire era.
So we have these two truths that we have to hold in our heads at the same time. Truth 1, the interface is shifting to intent, and it's not going back. It's too convenient. We love it. We're addicted to the magic of it. But truth 2, the legitimacy of that whole shift is, well, it's shady.
It depends entirely on how we treat the humans who train the system in the first place. Are they inputs to be exploited, or are they contributors to be compensated?
That's the hinge point.
It's everything. And Fassio lays out two potential futures from here. A fork in the road.
Okay, let's walk down path A. The unlicensed extraction path, the dystopian route.
In this scenario, the whole era is just built on exploitation. The tech companies win the lawsuits, or they lobby their way out of any meaningful regulation. They just keep scraping everything.
And what happens to the creative world?
It doesn't just evolve, it fractures. You'll see endless legal battles. You'll see a massive cultural backlash. And Fassio predicts that human creators will just withdraw. They'll retreat into walled gardens.
So we stop posting our art on the open internet.
Exactly. We move into closed communities, paid discords, encrypted networks where the scrapers can't get in.
So the open internet becomes a ghost town. Or worse, it's just a bunch of AI bots talking to other AI bots while all the actual human culture hides behind a paywall.
That's the dead internet theory. But then there is path B.
The path of consent and provenance.
This is the optimistic path, but it requires actual work. It's not a default. In this future, systems become accountable. We build metadata standards, maybe blockchain ledgers, where the human source of a style or an idea is tracked.
So if I prompt the AI to make a song in a certain style, the system knows who pioneered that style.
Right, and those creators can opt in. They can get paid a micropayment, a license fee. Whenever their style or their work contributes to a new generation, you'd see new collectives form to manage these rights.
So it's not about stopping the technology, but about building a system where artists aren't asked to just accept dispossession as the price of progress.
Correct. It's about ensuring the humans who fed the machine can actually live with the machine.
That really feels like the only sustainable way forward. But let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about the artists. I want to talk about us, the listeners, the consumers, because there's this other layer to this that Fassio calls the paradox of culture.
And this connects right back to the cathedral. Remember how we said the limitations of the catalog created shared culture?
Yeah, the water cooler effect.
Well, what happens when everyone gets their own personalized blockbuster movie? What happens when your movie is different from my movie?
I mean,
Yeah.
On one hand, it's amazing. I get the exact movie I want to see. No boring parts, no tropes I hate. But then who do I talk to about it?
That's the paradox.
Yeah.
A private, perfectly personalized piece of media might be incredibly satisfying in the moment. It hits all your dopamine buttons.
Yeah.
But it is profoundly isolating.
Yeah.
It doesn't create a shared soundtrack for a generation. It produces, as Fassio puts it, a million private worlds that never collide.
That is such a haunting image. A million private worlds that never collide. It's like we're all wearing our own little VR headsets for our entire cultural diet. We're in the same room, but we're all completely alone.
And this leads to a really fascinating economic insight. If the output, the actual content, the songs, the images, if that becomes cheap and infinite,
Yeah.
what becomes valuable?
Scarcity has to go somewhere. That's basic economics, right? If supply is infinite, price goes to zero.
So scarcity relocates. And in a world of infinite content, taste becomes expensive, trust becomes valuable.
Oh, I like that. So because there's just too much stuff and literally anyone can make anything, the person who can actually tell me what is good, they become the most important person in the room.
Precisely. The ability to decide what matters becomes the real creative act. Curation isn't a side gig anymore. It becomes the main event. And trust, the trust that a human actually felt something, that a human really experienced the heartbreak in the song, that becomes a luxury product.
So if I'm an artist listening to this and I'm trying to figure out my place in all this, what do I do? Fassio says the creator decade isn't over, but the job description has changed.
And the job is no longer just make content. The machines can do that faster than you ever will. You can't compete on volume. The new job is make meaning.
Make meaning.
It's make legitimacy.
Make legitimacy. That's a heavy phrase. What does that actually look like?
It means building worlds and communities that people want to belong to, not just consume. It means building a context around your work that a machine can't replicate. You have to earn trust inside an infinite feed.
So you have to be a world builder, not just a file generator.
Yes. The builders who win this era won't be the ones who generate the most stuff. It'll be the ones who make the entire experience feel human. You have to give people a reason to care about your version of regret at midnight over the machines. And usually that reason is you.
Your humanity, your story.
Your vulnerability. It's almost ironic. The more advanced and perfect the AI gets, the more valuable the raw, messy, imperfect human element becomes.
Right.
It's a fundamental recalibration. The catalog is being recompiled into an intent engine, and the question isn't whether it's happening. It is. The real question is how we structure the ethics and the economics around it.
It's a shift from just browsing the shelves to speaking into the void and having the void speak back to you. And I keep going back to that prompt. Regret at midnight with enough brightness to keep driving. It is. But it's also this constant reminder that the machine only knows what regret sounds like because a human being felt it first, wrote it down, and recorded it.
And that's the thread we cannot afford to cut. Fassio warns us. If we sever that connection to the human source, if we stop paying artists, if we stop valuing that lived experience, the intent engine eventually runs out of fuel.
It just starts eating itself.
Starts recycling its own echoes. You get a closed loop of AI training on AI-generated data. It all looks technically perfect, but it feels completely dead.
Wow. Recycling its own echoes. That is a thought to chew on. That's the risk of a kind of cultural heat death.
It is.
So here's the big takeaway for you listening right now. We are standing at that fork in the road. We're the ones typing the prompts. Every single time we use these tools, we are casting a vote for one of those futures.
It matters more than ever.
Are we just requesting outcomes looking for the cheapest, fastest fix? Or are we participating in a system that values the human source? Because that prompt bar is blinking, and what we type next, it actually matters.
It's a brave new world, but we still have to live in it.
Thank you for unpacking all of this with me. It's a lot to process: economics, ethics, the very nature of art, but I feel like I have a map for the terrain now.
My pleasure. It was a great conversation.
Thanks for listening to the Reflect Podcast, where we're telling the future. Are you in it? Visit reflectpodcast.com and share your story.
In the cyber ocean of online voices and recycled content, something different has arrived. Reflect isn't just another podcast, it's the future of storytelling, powered entirely by AI. From curating data to assembling thought-provoking ideas, we've redefined how journeys are told. Reflect is a podcast that thinks, learns, and evolves with each episode. Every tale, every insight, crafted by the most advanced AI technologies. A podcast that disrupts the industry, breaking free from traditional formats, taking you on an entirely new experience. So tune in now and reflect. We're telling the future.